So we'll move right into types of systems. These are the 5 most basic types of systems: wet, dry, pre-action, deluge, and antifreeze. So before we jump into these types of systems and how they work, we'll cover some myths about how systems function. A clip following this from our friends in Hollywood who have helped create some of these myths, so you can see how sprinklers don't work. So as you can see in this video, we're activating a sprinkler head by heat. This is actually how sprinkler heads work. They're individually activated by heat. But unlike this video, one sprinkler head will not activate all the rest of the sprinkler heads in the system. Another common myth is that sprinkler heads are activated by smoke. That's absolutely not the case. Sprinkler head will not activate by smoke, only by heat. And one of our other common myths is that sprinkler heads can be activated by a pull station or a fire alarm, and that's absolutely not the case either. So we'll jump into our systems. Wet systems are the most common type of sprinkler systems. You'll find these in 90% of the buildings out there that are protected by fire sprinklers. They're installed in areas that are not subject to freezing, and your piping contains water at all times under pressure. So when the sprinkler head is fused, or meaning the glass bulb breaks or the frangible element breaks, they call that fusing, the sprinkler will open and discharge water immediately. You can see from our couple of pictures here, these are pretty common controls for a dry or for a wet system. The main picture here in the center is an alarm valve. It's a valve used to divert water to a water motor alarm or a pressure switch to tie into your alarm systems. The photo on the right here is another very common wet system. It's called a shotgun riser. It has a flow switch in it that detects water flow, which will activate your local alarms and the tie-in of the rest of your alarm system. If dry systems, they're typically installed where the sprinkler system is exposed to freezing conditions. The piping's maintained dry with compressed air or nitrogen. The dry valve activates once a sprinkler head opens. That dry valve will sense that loss in air pressure and charge the system with water. Dry valves will always have some source of compressed air or nitrogen to maintain them in a dry state. These systems, dry systems, like pre-action systems, are maintained dry, but there's always moisture in the piping, so they require additional maintenance and service to keep them in good condition. So pre-action systems are typically used to protect areas where accidental water discharge is undesirable. The piping supervised by nitrogen or air under pressure, just like a dry system, but water is only introduced into the system when we have an action from a fire alarm panel or some other detection device that will open that valve and charge the system with water. So in a pre-action system, you could literally knock a sprinkler head right off the system and it would discharge the air and set a pre-alarm, but no water would be discharged until another action happens, like a smoke detector going off or a heat detector. Deluge systems, these are similar to what we see in these Hollywood movies. When one sprinkler goes off, they all go off. That's not typically the way it works. So when these systems they're activated by a detector within that area that's protected. They're used in high hazard areas where fires can spread quickly, and they discharge a large amount of water over a protected area. So these deluge systems, you'll have fire sprinklers or nozzles that are open at all times, and when a fire is detected, that deluge valve will open and charge the entire system with water, and all the open sprinkler heads will function at the same time. These are typically found, like you see in the picture here, in fuel depots, aircraft hangars, those kind of areas where fire can spread quickly and you need a lot of water to put it out. Antifreeze systems, these are generally portions of the larger wet sprinkler system. They're installed to cover small areas subject to freezing. Antifreeze is contained by a check valve or a backflow assembly. And when the fire sprinkler system is activated, the antifreeze is discharged, followed by water. These particular systems have had some problems in the past with antifreeze, as antifreeze is flammable. And we found some conditions where these were discharged and people were injured or killed when that antifreeze discharged onto a fire. So as of now, all non-listed or unknown types of antifreeze in systems must be replaced with listed antifreeze prior to September 30th, 2022. Many of these systems are still out there that contain legacy antifreeze in mixtures that are and concentrations that are high enough to be potentially dangerous. So if you have one of these systems, have your contractor check it out to make sure that that system has currently listed antifreeze in it. That listed antifreeze only became available about a year ago. So we still have many systems out there that have old legacy antifreeze in them. These systems require annual testing, and they also are required to have proper signage. So all of these antifreeze loops should have a sign indicating the type and concentration of antifreeze installed in the system.